Heather, are you sure they're not down here?
Captain Ramsey, I've looked everywhere. They're not here.
They've got to be. I'm going to look for myself. I'll bet you they're down here playing cops and robbers. We don't have enough trouble without these kids playing games. Come on, Jeremy, Mike. Come on, the fun's over, kids.
Captain Ramsey, they're not down here. Why don't we go upstairs? They must be up there.
Not until I check this whole place out. I'll tell you, if I were a kid and I wanted to scare people and hide, this is exactly where I'd be, in this cellar. Mike! Jeremy! Come on, boys. I know you're down here. Come on. I'm gonna find you, boys, if it's the last thing I do. Mike! Jeremy!
Victor, would you quit staring at me? I'm so angry right now I could positively scream.
Angry at what, Tiffany?
Nichols, of course. How dare him keep us locked up in here all these hours? What could he possibly be thinking of?
What my brother is thinking is quite obvious. Who is the traitor among us?
The traitor?
Someone helped Robert Scorpio get into this complex. Perhaps somebody who got to know him above ground. Possibly somebody who went up quite often to get a suntan.
Are you suggesting that I would help Scorpio?
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm stating a fact. One of the main reasons we are locked in here is because, undoubtedly, my brother suspects you are the traitor.
That's a lie. You told me yourself that you had a fight with Mikos and then he locked you in here, so don't try to blame it on me, baby.
Then you deny ever helping him?
Of course I deny it. If Mikos thinks that I would help him, he's positively lost all of his senses. You know, actually, I'm not sure that he hasn't.
I'm sorry, I can agree with that.
Oh, well, you vacillate so. You know, earlier you told me that you thought that he had lost all sense of perspective.
I don't know what to think anymore. But I must remember one thing. He's my brother.
Oh, yes, Victor. Keep remembering that. All of this little bizarre dinner party of his. A black-tie dinner party for 3 intruders that are going to die anyway. Oh, admit it, Victor. That is not the act of a rational man.
Just be quiet. I need time to think.
You didn't get me a boutonniere, Robert. I'm crushed.
I think a wreath would have been more appropriate. Something funereal. Interesting they wouldn't let us change in the same rooms together. No way to make plans.
What plans?
You have a positive genius for never noticing the obvious. You hear the music coming from that radio?
Yeah.
Y ahora, continuando nuestra música desde el Trocadero en Caracas, escucharán una selección de ritmos.
My lady awaits.
Adios, amigo.
Si, Cisco. Pardon me, Mr. Davenport. I believe that this is our dance. On your dance card, remember me? Freckle-faced freak with 1 tooth. Stay close by, I have a plan.
Mr. Spencer. I'm impressed. Dancing on the night you're going to die.
We never overlook an opportunity.
Hear, hear.
Steady on there, girl.
I'm sorry, I'm just worried, I guess.
We all are. Have a seat. Come on.
It's just that if anything should happen to Mike's grandmother.
She's gonna be fine. We'll take care of her. That's why we're here.
I know.
Superheroes.
I know. I'm grateful, too, but it just seems like everything's gone from bad to worse. And poor Monica, she's got to be so upset. Have you heard anything about Alan Jr.?
Still in surgery.
He's fine. Monica's there with him. Oh, come on, let's have some soup. I can recommend it. I know the chef personally.
Oh, I'm too nervous to eat. And I'm gonna really wring those two necks, Mike and Jeremy, when I get a hold of them. What time do you plan cops and robbers, or whatever it is they're
Wait
doing?
a minute now. Boys will be boys. Actually, it's probably best they're playing. Hmm?
Keep their mind off it, you know? Keep their mind off Mike's grandmother.
And keep themselves company.
You have a point, I suppose. Still, you know, it shouldn't take Ramsey and Heather that long to find them if they're in the basement, you know. They should have been found by now. I'm gonna go find out what's going on. Excuse me.
Boys, I am getting cold down here and getting madder by the minute. Now, come on out. Mike? Jeremy?
Captain Ramsey,
What?
they're in there.
Oh, if you will mind. Come on now, out of there, both of you. Let's go.
You know, you two should be ashamed of yourselves. Rose is really going to be angry with you.
Upstairs, on the double. Come on.
We were just playing around.
I don't care. You heard me. I said go. Let's go. Come on.
You could have frozen to death down here.
Just these kids, huh? Tell me.
Welcome back, General. And your lady.
Your benevolence overwhelms me, Mikos.
And you, Victor, with your Tiffany.
I'm sorry, brother, if I disappointed you. Thank you for your welcome.
Now, this, I'd say, is why this complex was created. Conviviality, gaiety, lovely ladies, handsome gentlemen, reveling in life. Yes, my friends, this promises to be a most rewarding occasion.
You built this place primarily for Bacchanalia, then?
No, hardly, Mr. Scorpio, although celebration is often in order. No, I would say that this was created so that as future rulers of the world, we may wait in comfort until mankind accepts our perfect universe. Drink up, Mr. Spencer. Enjoy yourself.
I'm giving it a shot, sir, but it's difficult. Being from Missouri.
Missouri, I don't understand.
It's just an expression because it means our guest isn't convinced.
Oh, really? Not convinced of what, may I ask?
Well, sir, you speak of a perfect world. I find it a little difficult to perceive a perfect world. I don't know how that's going to work. For instance, who's going to run it?
Oh, you see the future rulers all around you. My brother Victor, for example, will be my second in command. Kaluga will be in charge of all military operations.
That is to be a militant world.
Oh, no, not at all. We will use military force only when it's necessary to convince certain countries that their future lies under my control. You begin to see?
Yes. Yes, I see, but whether it's by force or not, we're still talking about ruling the world. The world.
Do you think I'd squander my resources on anything less?
Probably not. But tell me, what makes you think you could run a perfect world?
Oh, not could, Mr. Spencer. Will. I shall rule. Make no mistake about that.
That doesn't answer my question, Mr. Cassadine.
You know, I admire that. You're direct to the point. I like that.
Early training.
It will be a good world because I shall so decree. And I assure you my rule will be absolute.
And what you're doing in Port Charles, do you consider that a demonstration of your perfect world?
Port Charles is merely an example. An example of what?
Power, Mr. Scorpio.
I see. My understanding is that your concept of power comes from unspeakable suffering.
Oh, no, not at all. Port Charles is merely being used as a demonstration.
Of your power.
Ah, you are adept at following my thinking, Mr. Spencer.
I am trying, Mr. Cassadine.
Even when one teaches a child, one must point out the consequences of the bad as well as the rewards of the good. Let's assume a small boy is determined to put his hand on a hot stove. You can warn him, of course. You can promise him he'll regret it. But the only effective lesson is let him do it. He'll learn very quickly that way. And he'll certainly never try it again.
Port Charles is a lesson.
An extremely effective one.
So obviously these sands of time are running out.
They are indeed, Mr. Spencer. To be precise, 4 hours. Exactly 4 hours.
And then?
Then the world is ours. In 4 hours, Port Charles will have been brought to its knees.
I hope we can use this country house again.
Me too, hon. Oh, no. The rug wasn't this dirty when we got here, and the Martins will be here any minute. What'll we do?
They've got Woolite self-cleaning rug cleaner.
But there's no time to clean the rug.
Nothing's faster or easier than Woolite. Just spray it on. Woolite cleans in minutes with no scrubbing.
That was fast and easy.
Smells fresh, too.
Woolite self-cleaning rug cleaner.
There's no faster, easier way to clean your rug.
I won't put on my bikini till I take it off with Cocoa Butter Neat.
I won't put on my jogging shorts till I take it off with Cocoa Butter Neat.
Neat works better than razors. Look, razors only cut at the surface, but Neat works below skin surface. 5 days later, you see stubble on the razor leg, but the Neat leg is still smooth, so you look better in your bikini.
Before I go out with Billy, I take it off with Cocoa Butter Neat.
Now new cocoa butter, too. Neat hair remover for smoother legs, longer.
Deep down and real, look at how it feels.
Silkians brings you a new deep treatment that goes to the heart of your damaged hair. Beyond the cuticle, right to the cortex, silver tracers show how deep Silkians deep goes. Silkens and soothes.
Deep down and real.
Jane bleaches and dyes, Lynn straightens and blow dries, yet
Look at how it feels.
the more you need it, the deeper it goes. Silkians deep.
My temperature runs a couple of degrees high, around 100. I don't mind. The engine or something.
Maybe you need a tune-up.
Body heat.
Yeah, nothing's going to be the same anymore.
When everything is possible.
Stay away from her.
Forget it.
She's trouble now.
I'm sorry, guys. I just can't do that.
Body Heat, a story of passion and suspense. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Better than that. You're not supposed to be down here. You know that, Michael. You get upstairs and get into a hot bath right now. You must be frozen.
Can we have some need first?
Jeremy, you heard what Rose said. Now go. Come on.
But we were having fun, honest.
Go upstairs, and when you're good and you're warm, I might make you something to eat. Might, mind you now. Go.
Speaking of food, I see you cleared off my soup. You have any hot for me?
Yeah, sure thing. Come right up.
Put the joints over here.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Al. Oh.
Rose, I just thought. Ramsey didn't see him.
No, but he must have moved around when he was trying to hide, and he's opened his wound. He's bleeding badly.
No. I can't go down there with Ramsey here.
I couldn't help him either.
Here you go, Birds.
Oh, good sound. Good sound means the phone lines aren't down.
Kelly's Diner. Joe!
Joe Kelly, tell him to get back here right away.
If you can make it through the snow.
No, we're fine so far, but we need you, Joe, desperately. Can you get back to Port Charles? Hello? Joe? Oh. Mine's dead.
Oh, boy. Uh-oh. I have a feeling we may lose all of our power any minute.
Oh, boy. Power goes at the hospital. They got real problems.
So they gotta have an emergency system.
Oh, yeah, they do. They have an alternate generator that works on oil. I don't know what the capacity is, though. Rose, if you have any candles, I'd suggest you get them. We could lose that power very quickly.
Has Washington updated this?
Yes, sir, every half hour.
And the phone line is still open?
So far, Mr. Rooney. If it fails, we can switch to satellite, provided we have power here.
They haven't pinpointed where Mikos is yet, have they?
No, that sort of thing takes time, and time is one luxury we just can't afford.
Is it possible he could be bluffing? I mean, this threat to freeze Port Charles solid.
No, Mikos does not bluff, period. From our profile on him, I'm sure he's enjoying all this, announcing to the world he's going to freeze this entire city unless the whole world capitulates.
I think we'd better wake Steve.
Oh, no, please. He's been up for 24 hours. He needs a little rest now.
He'll want to know we're not making any progress, Audrey.
There's still time before the deadline. Besides, he'll be needed more when the real emergencies begin.
Mr. Rooney, what's the situation on keeping this hospital functioning?
Well, I just consulted with the chief engineer about that. As far as heat is concerned, we're using auxiliary fuel right now. He's going to compute how much we have left and check with me.
And what about power for other uses? Lights, for example?
And the equipment for the ORs and the intensive care units.
Well, there we know exactly where we stand. If the power fails, we'll switch to the emergency generators. They run on oil.
How long will they last?
Exactly 6 hours. After that? Well, after that, the hospital will be in total darkness with no power for any of the equipment. In short, disaster.
Including no way to stay in touch with Washington.
Not if your satellite needs power.
Oh, damn that clock. I could swear time is crawling.
It's accurate to 20 seconds.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. Forgive me. You see, I can predict exactly how Mikos Kassadine is going to play his game.
How?
By waiting. One thing we can be sure of. We'll never hear from him again. Not until 0 hour.
Surely all of you can feel the excitement, the wonder of it. Mr. Scorpio, you've traveled extensively. Name a depressed area anywhere in the world, quickly.
Santapur.
Ah, very good, Mr. Scorpio. Due north of Calcutta, quite near the Pakistan border.
9 kilometers to be precise.
Consider Santapur, if you will. Poverty, disease, starvation, pestilence, aching hunger. And I have the power to end all that forever. Now, do you begin to understand my exhilaration? An end to poverty and disease throughout the world.
With snow?
I beg your pardon?
The lady asked if you intend to change the world with snow, Mr. Kassadine.
You're toying with me, Mr. Spencer. The byproducts of carbonic snow are literally fantastic. It takes a superior mind even to imagine them. Remember something, young man. Remember it as long as you live.
That shouldn't be difficult.
The haves must share with the have-nots. That is the very foundation of my empire.
Interesting theory.
No, it's not a theory. It's fact.
It's also a fact that none of you know anything about have-nots. How many people in this room have ever been hungry?
Because he goes too far. No, Victor. Let him have his say. I'm intrigued by the way he thinks.
What I think, Mr. Kassadine, is that your dream is going to remain just that, a dream. Unless you convince the have-nots of the world that you have answers for them.
And you think I cannot do that?
You can't convince me. What makes you think you're going to convince the entire world?
Victor's right, Mikos. He should be silenced. How dare he challenge you? Because I enjoy a meeting of minds, Kaluga. So, you doubt me?
Doubt seems rampant, Mr. Kassadine. But, if it'll make you feel better, I'd be happy to drink to it. Here's to a perfect world, which unfortunately my friends and I will not live to see.
You show remarkable poise, Mr. Spencer. Yes, and courage. I'm impressed.
It's not so impressive. Courage is a cinch when your life is over. May I go on?
Please, go ahead.
I have a proposition for you. Be cheap. Call it a dare.
Yes, we're eager to hear it.
It's very simple. Convince me, Mr. Kassadine. Convince me that you can create a perfect world.
Why? For the sake of your curiosity?
Curiosity of a dead man means nothing. No, I'm asking you to convince me. And if you can do that, speak to poor Charles. Put me on the line. I will talk to them. I will tell them that you mean good, not harm. I will tell them that your philosophy is sane and that it is important, and I will ask them to join you.
What are you saying?
I mean exactly what I say. Do we have a deal?
Dinner is served, sir.
Thank you, Albert. Shall we?
Thank goodness. I'm famished.
So am I.
You'll find place cards, naturally. I think our first course is to be smoked salmon.
Scottish, I hope.
Oh, is there any other kind, Mr. Scorpio? And it'll be accompanied by a rather decent Pouillet Puissé, put down in Solutra, 1960. I think you'll approve.
Second, of course, to the Pouillet Puissé 64 put down in Burgess.
Are you a connoisseur as well, Miss Baldwin?
Hardly. Mikos.
Yes, Tiffany, my dear. Do you have a comment on the wine?
No, on the guns. Must we have them? I mean, it's extremely disconcerting for everyone.
I'm afraid they're a necessity this evening, my dear. The guns stay.
Oh, thank you. I do like salmon.
Oh, well, then, by all means, eat heartily.
It has a distinctly sinister ring to it.
Your health, Mr. Spencer.
I'll drink to that.
I don't think I really have time to...
Monica, you must.
And Alan, too, you're both exhausted.
Well, we all are, Audrey. Look, why don't you two go on to the cafeteria? I'll just get my messages, all right?
All right, but can we order you something?
Get me some tea and honey, please.
Fine. Come on.
Any messages for me, Georgia?
Oh, yes, there was a long-distance phone call for you about 15 minutes ago. But then things got all messed up.
What do you mean they got all messed up?
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Georgia. We're all on edge. Forgive me. Do you know who called?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't know. But it was a woman's voice, and she was calling from New York City. But before I could ask her name, the line went dead. The phones have been doing that for hours.
Yes, I understand. Thank you very much, Georgia.
You're welcome.
Dr. Banks, call the lab on line 4B. Dr. Banks, call the lab on line 4B.
Yes, operator. Maternity floor, please. Room 402. Susan?
Alan? I tried to call you, but I got disconnected.
God, I'm so glad I got you back. I know we got disconnected. Are you all right?
Yeah, I am. I'm fine.
I'm so glad to hear your voice. The baby, he's fine. No complications, right?
No, none at all. He's a beautiful baby.
Yes, I'm sure he is. Listen, when we got disconnected, I was about to tell you something very important. As a matter of fact, I was about to warn you about something.
Warn me?
Look, we are having the most terrible blizzard here in Port Charles, and I don't just mean a storm. I'm talking about major devastation. And the important thing is they think it's going to move on down to New York City, and if that happens, it's going to immobilize the city. Now, do you feel strong enough to travel?
You mean come back to Port Charles? Alan, I can't do that.
No. That's the last thing I want you to do. Anyway, you couldn't get back here in any event. What I really want you to do is I want you to take the baby and get on a plane and go south, go to Florida, go to Miami or Palm Beach or something.
Listen, that's very thoughtful of you, but I just can't.
What do you mean you can't? You must.
Alan, will you please try to understand? I just can't keep running.
Susan, I'm talking about your safety and our babies. You've got to get out of New York.
You still don't understand, do you? Listen, you don't have to be so concerned. The baby's not a quartermain, and he never will be. He's just my baby, that's all.
Don't say that, Susan. How can you possibly say that he's not a quartermain?
Because he isn't. You already have a son, and you already have a wife. I'm sorry, Alan, that there's just no other way to explain it, that's all. You heard?
Yes, I heard. And now we know one thing, don't we?
What?
Who the father of your baby really is.
You say Mikos Cassadine won't call until the last minute, right?
That would fit the pattern. He has a definite flair for drama.
All right, then I have a question. And remember, the fate of this hospital, in fact, the fate of Port Charles itself, is on our shoulders.
I know that very well.
When he does call, what are you going to say?
I haven't made that determination.
You haven't made that determination. Damn it, man, don't you think you better start determining?
It's impossible for me to make that determination because I take my orders directly from Washington.
All right, then call Washington. Don't they know what we're facing here? We're talking about the lives and welfare of thousands of people.
That's not true.
What?
We're talking about the lives and welfare of the whole world. Time is running out for all of us.
Your earlier observation was perspicacious, Mr. Spencer. It's true. No one here has personally known hunger. But I assure you, I know about hunger. I saw it as a boy growing up in Greece. So did my brothers.
From a safe distance, I'm sure.
That's a matter of interpretation. My father used to take us riding in his car. When we passed through the slums, it was necessary to keep the doors and the windows locked. The poor, the starving, pounded on the car whenever we stopped for a traffic light.
Chauffeur-driven limousine?
Yes, my father had many.
Was your father annoyed by the people pounding on his car?
No. No, he was philosophic. He said, that's the way of the world. The haves against the have-nots, and you can't feed them all. I had a quite different reaction.
What?
After such an experience, we go home to our lavish dinners. But I was unable to eat. Now, do you understand why I must have my way? I have it in my power to feed the whole world. That's why I must be heeded. I must rule.
I believe you.
Do you?
Yeah. For what it's worth. I think you are completely sincere.
That is most gratifying.
Look, this is pure, unadulterated rubbish.
Apparently, your colleague does not agree with you, Mr. Spencer.
Disagree with him. You of all people to be suckered in by this insane scheme. The bottom line is that these people are out to control the world. Control it, understand, not save it.
Do you agree with Mr. Scorpio?
I think Mr. Scorpio hasn't the faintest idea of what he's talking about.
And your point of view, of course, is far more erudite.
Yes, I believe it is, Robert. What do you know about hunger, disease, poverty? Nothing. Nothing. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And as far as that goes, so were you, Laura.
But you were not.
No, sir, I was not. I watched my mother die on the floor of a tenement house because my old man couldn't scrape together the money to have her appendix out.
This is pathetic. All it needs now is canned laughter. You'd be telling me next you've starved in your lifetime as well.
Yes, I could tell you that, Robert, because I have gone hungry. When my father left, he left the body of my mother on the floor. With my sister and I were the only two people to take care of the situation. We were kids. We didn't know what the hell to do, Robert. We hid in the streets. We ate out of garbage cans. Don't tell me about hunger. I know.
Luke, I can't believe you're saying these
I'm
things.
sorry, Laura. It's exactly the way it is.
All right. If you really think that these people are so dedicated that they really want to save the world, why are they destroying Port Charles right now? He can stop the blizzard. Why doesn't he?
Dear Miss Baldwin, do you think I enjoy what I'm doing to Port Charles?
I think you revel in it.
Oh, my dear child, how wrong you are. As you say, I could stop the devastation at any time, and I assure you, there is nothing I want to do more.
Then why don't you?
Take it easy, Laura.
No.
Take it easy.
No, I mean it. If he means what he says, why doesn't he stop the storm?
I will. The instant Ballentine capitulates.
He's right, Laura. Robert, I believe him. There is no crime in saying that you were wrong. We've been wrong. I say we change allegiance, and I say we change it now.
He'll stop the storm?
I'm sure of it. The storm in Port Charles will end.